currently being recognized on the field are the members of the Milford High School softball team, and just an outstanding group of athletes, terrific student athletes, great ambassadors to Milford High School, and what a run they had. 19 straight victories in the regular season, an incredible run of 4 victories through their Division I South bracket, culminating with a victory in the D1 South Championship game over unbeaten Silver Lake High School. Then after a victory over Newton North in the state semifinals, they were able to come from behind to defeat the Wachusett Lady Mountaineers by a final score of 7-3 to earn this softball program's 3rd state championship in the last 6 years, and having an opportunity to cover this team very closely on the Milford TV side over the course of this entire season and throughout all of their playoff run. I can tell you firsthand, this is an outstanding group of athletes that deserve every bit of recognition that they have gotten here in the community over these last couple of weeks since that state championship win back on June 17th at Worcester State. So they are all out on the field right now receiving flowers from the Milford Post 59 coaching staff, and the members of the softball team that are in attendance here tonight will also throw out a ceremonial first pitch, as now members of the Milford Legion team have lined up behind the plate. And the girls now getting ready to throw out a first pitch. A lot of the team is here, and now those first pitches about to be thrown. And Allie Atherton, of course, leading the way right at the end of the line. Milford's star in the pitcher circle, who led them to each and every victory they won throughout the playoffs, and was on the circle for a complete game effort in the Division I state championship game. So what a terrific moment for these athletes to be recognized, and a quick photo op at the end of those ceremonies between Kate Irwin and her older brother, Nate Irwin, who is, of course, a member of this Post 59 team, earning the victory on the mound last night. So what a terrific ceremony, and presided over by none other than Anthony Mazzini, doing a terrific job doing that. And Anthony, I'll bring you into the pregame festivities here really quickly. Great opportunity for you to be able to recognize this team. You and I had a chance to cover them quite a bit during the regular season and into the playoffs. An outstanding achievement for these girls.
Yeah, quick turnaround. Luckily, the press box is kind of small up here. Just ran over from one microphone to the other. But, yeah, it was a great run for the Lady Scarlet Hawks. You know, I had a chance to cover them both with you as well as a couple on my own, and they really were just impressive. I talked to Allie Atherton after one of the games, and she said there's just something about this team, the team chemistry. And when you look at this team, Shannon Smith led the Lady Scarlet Hawks to 2 consecutive championships in 2012 and 2013. So there was a lot of pressure on this senior class. Allie Atherton, Maggie Farrell, and Caitlin DeCapua. So this is a team that had a lot of pressure coming in. It took them 4 years to get them to where they wanted to be, but all that matters is how you finish. It doesn't really matter how you start. They were always competitive, but they put it all together over 4 seasons, and really a special team. Offense, defense, pitching, you name it. They were just dominant in every category.
Back here once again at Pheno Field, time for baseball between Milford Post 59 and Shrewsbury Post 397. A few jackets and a few sweatshirts here for the Pheno crowd, and it's a good crowd forming, of course, honoring the softball game, the softball team prior to the game, and now getting set for a marquee matchup in Zone 4, with Milford taking on Shrewsbury. The top hitter for Shrewsbury about to dig in, Adam Twitchell, as Tim Coette and Anthony Mazzini bring you the call for tonight's action here on My FM 101.3. The game getting underway just a couple of minutes behind schedule with those extended pregame festivities, but certainly richly deserved festivities for that Milford softball team. Again, congratulations to the Lady Hawks. As now Michael Farrell is ready with his first pitch, and Twitchell bunts it out towards third base. Going to be a tough play for Farrell, and all he can do is hold on to it as Adam Twitchell delivers a bunt base hit on the first pitch of the game.
Interesting, Monahan wasn't necessarily playing in on that play. You always have to assume that a leadoff hitter is going to possibly lay down a bunt. You always kind of guess that there's good speed at the top of the lineup, but Monahan playing maybe even with the bag, maybe a step or two behind the bag, and Twitchell had no problem laying that bunt down the third base line for a base hit.
So the leadoff man on, and now Christian Jordan digs in on the left side, and Farrell delivers a called strike 1. A lot of these faces the same as when these two teams met last week. Christian Jordan among them, as Farrell comes to the set, and his 0-1 pitch misses high. Christian Jordan going 0 for 4 in the game back on the 21st with 2 strikeouts. Alex Masick getting the start that night. He was terrific. Ended up taking a no decision. As now the runner takes off for second base as this ball is drilled out to left field. Will it stay fair? It touches down in foul territory. Sisitsky racing towards the line, but that one hooking foul, and it will be a 1-ball, 2-strike count on Christian Jordan. So Shrewsbury trying to put the pressure on here early with the bunt base hit out of the leadoff hitter, and then Twitchell active on the bases. These teams remember how difficult it was to produce runs in the matchup last week. So trying to manufacture one here in the top half of the first. Twitchell again out to a lead, and now they'll check on him over there at first base as Farrell's throw is not in time. Safely back into the bag is Twitchell. Right back out to a lead, held on by Jake LeBlanc. Farrell now hesitating. The runner takes off again as this pitch is grounded foul. And again, Twitchell will have to retreat.
Reynolds was ready to pop up and make a throw that time. He elevated his catching stance just enough to get a little bit of a head start in his pop time. But ultimately, with the ball tapped foul at the plate, hitting Jordan in the box, Twitchell has to go back to first.
Reynolds has caught 3 would-be base stealers so far on the season. Here's another 1-2 pitch with the runner holding. That one drops in low. It's blocked out in front by Reynolds. That was probably the best pitch to run on of them all, and that time Twitchell stayed home.
First breaking ball we've seen from Farrell tonight, and Reynolds does a good job of keeping it in front of him. Really got to get a ball up the line, either the first or third base line for Twitchell to probably go. That ball landed right out in front of Reynolds, so no movement by Twitchell.
Again, he pops out to a sizable lead at first. He takes off as the ball is lined back up the middle. It gets past the glove of Farrell, then ricochets around the middle infield. Everyone will be safe as Twitchell ends up going first to third in a very bizarre play as that ball was lined back to the pitcher's mound. Farrell appeared to have it sized up to make the catch, but the ball bounced off the top of his glove, then ricocheted right back to the second base bag, pinballing between Sanchione and McMillan, and eventually drifted over towards the second base area. And everyone's safe, and now runners at the corners with nobody out.
That's very good awareness by Twitchell. Once that ball hit off the leg of Sanchione, who was actually in a pretty good spot to field that ball, him having to covering the bag with Twitchell running, that ball hit off his foot and ran over towards the right side of the field, allowing Twitchell to get to third.
And now a floater over towards the right side. And the catch made by LeBlanc, and they make the throw down to second base. And Milford is able to turn the double play. Only 1 out recorded as the runner was able to safely get back to first. It was strange for the throw to go into second base. Second base was not occupied. So LeBlanc making that catch in the air for just 1 out. That one another bizarre play, Anthony.
I think that one actually bounced off of home plate, and it kind of looked like from our broadcast position that it looked like a pop fly. That one actually hit off the plate or right out in front of the plate, took a really high bounce, so we probably thought it was a pop fly. But ultimately what happened is Nick Martin grounded that one over towards first base. LeBlanc threw on to second to get Jordan out, so it is now Martin at first.
And the run coming in the process, so it is a 1-0 lead.
So that's a fielder's choice on that last play, 1 to 6. Excuse me, not 1 to 6. 3 to 6.
Twitchell coming in from third to give Shrewsbury a fast 1-0 lead. Now the runner from first base taking off. The pitch inside. The throw down to second base is late. And it's a stolen base for Nick Martin.
Farrell struggling to hold runners on right now. We saw Twitchell run a couple of times. And now Nick Martin stealing his first bag of the night.
So Martin is the lone runner on the bases as we get everything sorted out from that strange play. Again, a high chop off the plate. It was tough to tell here from the press boxes. Now this ball gets past Reynolds, and that will move Martin on to third base. And an inauspicious start to this game. Already a run home for Shrewsbury, and now a free trip around the bases for Martin. He's now at third base with still just 1 out in the inning and a 3-ball, 1-strike count on the man at the plate, Jack Gardner.
That'll probably go as a pass ball, but one that Reynolds maybe could have had behind the dish. That ball bounced in front of the plate. It was a fastball, and those fastballs that bounce in front of the plate are some of the hardest to block, but that one was only a step or two to his left. He could have maybe had that one.
Now the 3-1 pitch, and that misses outside for ball 4. And now a late strike call issued. The batter had already made his way down to first base, but the late call issued by the umpire. And so back in the box now with a full count.
And umpires hate when you do that. You got to wonder if there's going to be an expanded strike zone here on this 3-2 pitch with one out.
So Gardner back in now. A lead at third base from Martin. And the payoff pitch. And that one is clearly low for ball 4. So it takes a pitch longer, but eventually Gardner does work the walk. And once again, Shrewsbury has men at the corners, and now their 5th batter of the inning will come to the plate in Thomas Michella, the third baseman.
Yeah, and you can't expand the zone that much unless you want to start dealing with the chirping of coaches. That one was in the dirt, runners on first and third. Farrell struggling a little bit in this early inning.
Again from the stretch, and his first pitch hits the outside part of the plate for a called strike 1. And so far, with Shrewsbury being as active on the bases as they have been, all signs would point to Gardner taking off for second base, especially with Milford having to guard against Martin at third. And now Farrell steps off, looking that runner back to the third base bag. Always plenty of intensity out of the Shrewsbury dugout anytime you face this post-397 team. Here's the 0-1 pitch now. It bounces in. And again, Reynolds able to block it out in front. And Farrell still trying to get comfortable in this top half of the first inning. It's a 1-ball, 1-strike count on Michella. And the pitch from Farrell is outside. He yanked that one far outside. And it's now a 2-ball, 1-strike count.
Farrell struggling with his command right now. A lot of pitches, when they've missed, have missed very far off the plate, whether it be in the dirt or up and away like we saw in that last pitch. And when he's left it over the plate, he's been hit around a little bit by Shrewsbury.
Now ready with his 2-1 offering. And he's able to pull that one back to the corner. He gets the call on a borderline pitch, and it's now 2-2.
Not the best framing job that time by Reynolds, but they get the called strike. Either way, looked like he was set up on the inside part of the plate, and that's one of the toughest to frame. When it goes to the outside part of the plate, you have to reach across your body.
Now Farrell with the 2-2 pitch misses up and away, and you could even see some body language out there from Farrell. He is a little bit rattled in this inning. Gone to another 3-ball count. The runner at first base perhaps with a head start, but first to check over there and diving back to the bag safely is Gardner. 3 balls, 2 strikes, 1 out, and runners at the corners for Shrewsbury, who already leads by a score of 1-0. And the payoff pitch is popped up, playable on the infield. It is Jake LeBlanc now into foul territory. The first baseman makes the catch. And a big out for Milford as that one stayed on the infield, forcing Martin to hold at third base now with 2 down.
And LeBlanc almost had trouble with that one over near the first base bag. Had to tiptoe around that first base bag and then looked like it got caught up in the wind, which is gusting quite heavily here tonight at Pheno Field. Almost spun himself around and fell over, but good concentration by LeBlanc to record the second out of the inning.
Those runners stay put at first and third. Martin, the lead runner, at third base with Gardner at first. And now Casey Boudreau at the plate. And he'll start off looking at ball 1 outside. Boudreau in the lineup when these two teams met last. He reached base twice, once on a hit by pitch and once on a walk. No hits in his 3 trips to the plate. Here's the 1-0 pitch. It's sent hard and foul off to the right. That one clearing the bleachers, sailing right over where the majority of the state champion Lady Scarlet Hawks are situated for this game. As now a serious gust of wind blows directly in towards home plate. You can see now the American flag out in left center field blowing straight in. Now a 1-1 pitch. This one sent on the ground, foul over towards the first base dugout.
Yeah, any ball in the air tonight is not going to travel well, especially the way the wind's blowing in towards the hitter's eyes. Any ball in the air is just going to come right back towards the infield, so don't expect too many long fly balls tonight.
So you're saying not a good home run night here at Pheno Field?
No night is a good home run night at Pheno Field.
The runner with a huge head start, stealing for second base. Now the runner breaking for home, and he slides in safely. Jack Gardner taking off while Michael Farrell was still in the set position. Farrell spinning off the mound, made the throw over to second base, then immediately the throw sent home as Martin broke for the plate. He slid in feet first. It was a bang-bang play at the plate. It looked like Milford had him, but the home plate umpire ruling Martin safe with the slide, and it's now a 2-0 lead for post 397.
Kind of a tough play to analyze because no one really did anything wrong on that play.
As now the pitch misses high, evening the count at 2 for Boudreau. So in the end, it becomes a successful double steal. And so Shrewsbury now with their lone runner at second base. That is Gardner. And a 2-2 pitch. This is a bouncer back up the middle. That is going to sneak through for a base hit. Gardner now coming around from second base. He will score without a throw. That one just sneaking past Farrell on the pitcher's mound and then shot out into center. Not hard hit, but effective as Boudreau comes through with an RBI single, and Shrewsbury now with a 3-0 lead.
And that'll go to show what good coaching can do. Just being aggressive on the base paths. You go with a double steal. Once that ball went to second base, the runner from third jolted home. Had to force Milford to make a play. They weren't able to, giving them a 2-0 lead. And now with a runner in scoring position, a base hit up the middle allows another run to score.
And now a called strike one into Dylan Zona, the 7th Shrewsbury batter to come to the plate in this top of the first inning. And so far, Michael Farrell has already had to throw 25 pitches, and he only has the first 2 outs recorded. The 0-1 pitch missing low. Dylan Zona with one of those 2 triples that Shrewsbury hit in the bottom of the 7th inning, trying to come back against Milford last Wednesday. It was his only hit of the game. He also struck out twice as now the runner again takes off for second base. The throw from Reynolds tails out into shallow right center field, and moving right on to third is Boudreau, so credit Boudreau with a steal, and then the throwing error for the catcher, Alex Reynolds, allows him to move right on to third. And those defensive issues, Anthony, unfortunately rearing their head again here in this first inning.
Yeah, I wasn't going to say anything until they maybe made 1 or 2 more, but now that they have, we can kind of start to put in the back of our minds. That's now a couple for Milford this inning, a few pass balls, and now a couple of throwing errors.
And a 2-1 pitch now misses upstairs. 3 balls and 1 strike the count.
That ball just sailed away from Reynolds, tailing away from the second base bag. Sanchione was covering, tailed away to his left. And once that ball got by, it's very easy for Boudreau to advance to third base. And again, just being aggressive on the base paths, forcing Milford to make a play. Probably read the scouting report, struggling a little bit on defense, forcing him to make plays.
Here's the 3-1 pitch. It sent foul off to the right, out of play. In between pitches, there was a little bit of jawing going on back and forth between head coach Frank Vaccaro, and it looked like a member of the Milford coaching staff. I do believe it was good-natured, as there is a very high level of mutual respect between these two teams. It looked like Coach Matos, who was going back and forth, but a smile on his face as he did so. Here's a 3-2 pitch now. That is in for a called strike 3. Zona tossing the bat away, thinking he had ball 4, but gets the bad news from the umpire. And finally, this top of the first inning comes to an end, but not before Shrewsbury sets the tone, scoring 3 runs. Milford with some defensive issues as well, so they will have to play from behind. A 3-0 Shrewsbury lead, the bottom of the first inning next, here on My FM 101.3. Time for the bottom of the first inning here at Pheno Field. And not the start that Post 59 was hoping for. 3 runs allowed for Michael Farrell in a lengthy top half of the first inning. 30 pitches thrown for Farrell. And now work to do for the Milford Bats. And they will be operating tonight against Kevin Hummer. He is not wearing the uniform number that was listed on the lineup card nor on their roster. But we do believe this is indeed Kevin Hummer on the mound, wearing number 10. And a hard-throwing right-hander who's misfired with the first 2 pitches into the leadoff hitter, Joe Sanchione. And a 2-ball, no-strike count, as now this ball is popped up out into shallow right center field. Ranging over is Twitchell, and he will make the catch for out number 1.
Yeah, looks like a good battery tonight. Both Nick Martin and Kevin Hummer have very good arms. Hummer showing a very good fastball with good velocity, while with Martin, after he threw the ball down to conclude warm-ups for Shrewsbury in the bottom of the first inning, showed a very good arm throwing down to second base.
So with one out and the bases empty, now it's Sean Ribello who takes a called strike one. Hummer not wasting any time. His next pitch is slapped on the ground towards first. A foot race to the bag now, and Dylan Zona able to get there for out number 2. 3 unassisted on the out. Defensively for Shrewsbury in this one, it is Nick Martin behind the plate. Thomas Michella at third, Dylan Zona at short, Casey Boudreau at second, and Dylan Zona at first. Left to right in the outfield, Christian Jordan, Adam Twitchell, and Patrick Galvin. 2 fast outs for Milford, leaving the inning up to Aiden Wild. And Wild starts off with a called strike one. It continues to be a very lively bench over on the Shrewsbury side.
And you see Wild take a step out of the batter's box there, trying to slow the pace down of Hummer.
But he comes right back with a called strike two, and Hummer now 1 strike away from a shutdown 1-2-3 first inning. He accepts the sign. Now here's the 0-2 pitch, and it's grounded slowly towards shortstop. Making the play is Zona. His throw to first is there in time for the out that ends the inning. So Milford ends up going 1-2-3, David Turco at shortstop throwing to Zona for the out that ends the inning. So Milford goes 1-2-3, a 3-0 lead for Shrewsbury at the conclusion of 1 inning of play here from Fino Field. Much more to come next here on My FM 101.3. Michael Farrell right back out on the pitcher's mound looking for better results. In the top half of the second inning, Shrewsbury grabbing 3 runs on 3 hits in the first to take an early stranglehold on this game. Runs, again, as we mentioned, were at a premium the last time they matched up, so a 3-run lead looms large. The leadoff batter here in the second inning, Patrick Galvin, sending one on a couple of bounces to second base, McMillan to first. And a good start as Farrell is able to record out number 1.
After he allowed the first 2 hitters to reach via base hits in the first inning, that's an excellent start for Farrell to come back, settle down after that break in between the top and bottom of the first inning. Now he gets the first hitter out.
And a very slim break, as it turned out, as Milford was retired quickly. And now the number 9 spot, the shortstop, David Turco. And a quick 0-2 count. And again, we see Turco showing some disagreement in the batter's box, but now digs back in as Farrell works with a better pace. Here's his 0-2 pitch. It's on the outside corner for a called strike 3.
And that's been a very generous outside part of the play tonight. We've seen a couple of Shrewsbury batters flip the bat on what they thought was ball 4 and started heading up the line. And we just saw Turco again shake his head after that breaking ball. Caught the outside part of the plate apparently. But Farrell will take it any way he can get it right now.
So 2 outs now and back up to the top of the lineup in Adam Twitchell, who touched off that first inning rally with a bunt base hit. And now Farrell sends one up and in for ball 1. That one coming close to the left shoulder of Twitchell. Farrell now back into his windup. The 1-0 pitch is hit softly back up the middle. McMillan ranges over it, hits him in the chest, and he has no throw. And that'll be the second Milford error of the game, as McMillan cannot look that one cleanly into the glove, allowing good speed on the bases with 2 outs now as Twitchell reaches on the E4.
And that one should have been easy for McMillan. That ball, he let that one eat him up. He didn't play the good hop, let that one come to him rather than go get it. And that ball just took one bad hop, and it was the last one right up into his chest. And immediately Twitchell takes off for second. Another tailing throw for Alex Reynolds. Off towards the shortstop side of the bag. Sanchioni had to reach for it. No chance to put a tag down, and Twitchell has the stolen base. There is just no chance to throw out Twitchell right now. Reynolds has a good arm, and Farrell is relatively quick to the plate, but Twitchell just has too much speed, and Farrell isn't doing a good job of holding him on. He has to vary his looks and adjust his tempo.
Twitchell out to a big lead at second base now as the pitch hits the outside edge against the left-handed hitting Christian Jordan. It's a 1-ball, 1-strike count. Jordan reaching on a bizarre infield base hit that ticked off the glove of Farrell and then bounced around the second base bag. Really impossible to give an error on the play, as it was a liner back towards the mound. Farrell could have made the catch, but it ended up hitting off his glove, so you could potentially give the error there to the pitcher, as now the 1-1 pitch is bounced foul.
No, I'd give that one a hit back in the first inning. That's just my opinion. You know, that ball, what's his name? Sanchioni isn't even scheduled to play there. You know, he's covering that bag. So when he has to cover, that's an odd play for him, ranging, trying to cover the bag and also trying to make the play. So that's a very tough play for Sanchioni. I wouldn't give an error on either Farrell or Sanchioni.
Sanchioni now sneaking in behind Twitchell at second, and now retreats back to his defensive position in the infield. A 1-ball, 2-strike count on Jordan. Farrell a look down towards second base. Now fires to the plate, and it's another ground ball hit foul over towards the first base dugout.
Good at bat put on by Jordan right now, forcing Farrell to use some pitches in this at bat after a very lengthy first inning, driving up the pitch count of Michael Farrell.
It's been an 11-pitch inning so far for Farrell, 41 pitches now for the game. And now Farrell spinning off the pitching rubber, sending Twitchell back to the second base bag, but just briefly now right back out to a lead. The wind easing up a bit, but still blowing in towards the plate as the 1-2 pitch bounces. Blocked out in front by Reynolds. And we talked about it last night, Anthony, the adventurous day behind the plate for Brandon McMullen, trying to reel in the pitches from that Sturbridge pitching staff. Right now it's been Alex Reynolds who has had to be on his toes here through the first inning plus.
Luckily, Reynolds hasn't had to deal with exactly what McMullen had to go through last night. Every pitch seemed to be in the dirt for McMullen last night, but Reynolds has done a pretty good job so far, keeping most of the balls in front of him. He did let one go by, and his throws have been tailing a little bit, but so far with what he's been tasked to do, he's done a pretty good job of it.
Ready to receive a 2-2 pitch. Bounce towards the right side, a play for LeBlanc. He will take it to the bag himself, and that will conclude the top half of the second inning. Shrewsbury threatens, but they do not score a run. They leave a man in scoring position, but Post 397 continues to lead this game by a score of 3-0 over Milford. On to the bottom half of the second inning next on My FM 101.3. It will be Tyler Monahan who will lead off the home half of the second inning. Tyler carrying a 13-game hitting streak into tonight's activity. Tries to check the swing, but the pitch is a called strike one out of the hand of Kevin Hummer, who was dominant in the bottom of the first inning, setting down Sanchioni, Rebello, and Wild very quickly. A 1-ball, 1-strike count now. The hitting streak extended for Monahan in the first inning of yesterday's game with a 2-run double. Here he sends a pop-up out to center field, and this one ends up in the glove of Adam Twitchell. And Hummer has retired the first 4 batters he's faced.
No continuation of the hitting streak that time for Monahan. He actually got a pretty good piece of it. Had to go down and away to get that ball and flared it out to center field. Actually got up in that wind stream like we were talking about. Twitchell jogging in to make that play for the first out.
Kyle Nocera taking a look at a first pitch strike. Kyle had an excellent day at the plate yet again yesterday. 3 more hits. A pair of singles, an RBI double, 2 runs scored. And he has been locked in at the plate of late. He was one of the topics of discussion during our Blair House of Milford Coaches Corner with Coach DeVito. He continues to deal with a bit of an elbow issue himself that has kept him off the pitcher's mound after making that first start of the season against Wachusett earlier this year. And now a waving swing and a miss, and he goes down quickly on strikes this time against Hummer.
Hummer made him look silly that time, started him off with a fastball on the outside part of the plate and then continued to go outside with a few breaking balls, and then another breaking ball. Basically started it right at Nocera's hip and then tailed it away, and Nocera swinging with only one hand on the bat, going down.
And I do beg your pardon, getting the lineup card, getting a little ahead of myself on the lineup card. That was Alex Reynolds making the second out of the inning. Now Nocera at the plate.
It's all right, we'll forgive you. You're feeling a little under the weather.
continuing to play hurt for a second day in a row. It's taken its toll on my brain here over these last few games, so I do apologize for that mishap. So Alex Reynolds with the strikeout. Now Nocera at the plate. And Anthony, let me just say, a 3-hit game for Kyle Nocera last night. Very impressive effort, and now he keeps that hitting streak going as he sends this ball out into center field for a ground ball base hit, so now make it 4 hits in his last 4 trips to the plate. So we were a little premature with the analysis, but the hot hitting continues for Nocera.
I'll even go back one farther game. 3 hits in the game against Eastside, 3 hits in the game yesterday, and now another hit tonight. That's 7 hits in a row in his last 7 plate appearances for Kyle Nocera.
And he'll immediately get checked on over at first base. He has to slide back in, but he gets there ahead of the throw from Hummer. So the first 5 batters retired in this game for Hummer, but the single for Nocera serving as Milford's first base runner of the night.
You just don't see that all the time. 7 hits in 7 plate appearances, I should say. And that's just unheard of.
And Hummer continuing to keep the lead short for Nocera over at first base. It's a 1-ball, no-strike count on Zach Sisitsky at the plate now. And another pickoff check. This one sent wildly down into the dirt, and a nice play from Zona to keep that ball from going into foul territory. Nocera a couple of crow hop steps as that pitch came into the plate. He holds at the bag as it now goes to a 2-ball, no-strike count on Sisitsky. And now a called strike. So even if with the runner at first, we still see some quick pitches out of the hand of Kevin Hummer. Now right back to the set. And the righty's pitch. And that's on the outside edge.
MLB Commissioner Rob Manfred would certainly love this pace of play right now shown by Kevin Hummer. He gets the ball and he throws it. You want to talk about shortening games, this is one way to do it. Just get it and throw it.
Chris Sale's style of baseball is now the 2-2 pitch is sent down the left field line, but that will twist into foul territory.
That's a topic of discussion for another day about pace of play, but I'm not too concerned about it, to be totally honest. I mean, if you don't like baseball the way it is, don't watch it. I'm a big traditionalist of baseball. Don't change it, but I'm not going to worry about that tonight.
I certainly echo those sentiments. We've had many discussions of that nature on the Sports Buzz as well on the weekends. Now a 2-2 pitch into Sisitsky, down at the knees, but just low. And now a 3-ball, 2-strike count, so Nocera will get a head start over at first base. He goes as this one is sent slowly over towards first base into the glove of Zona, who will take it to the first base bag. And that will conclude things in the bottom of the second inning. Milford does get their first hit, but no runs scored. And it will continue to be a 3-0 lead for Shrewsbury heading into inning number 3 next on your home for Milford Legion Baseball, My FM 101.3. Back on coverage of Milford Legion Baseball here on My FM 101.3. And now bringing you the play-by-play for this top half of the third inning, I turn it over to Anthony Mazzini.
Thank you, Tim. Nick Martin leading off this inning for Shrewsbury. He takes a ball outside. 1-0 the count on the Shrewsbury number 3 hitter. Farrell into his windup, the delivery. Misses again outside. 2-0 the count. Shrewsbury winning this game 3-0 at this moment here in the top of the third inning. It'll be 3-4-5 in this inning for Shrewsbury. Jack Gardner's on deck. Farrell with his 2-0 catches the top of the strike zone on Martin, running the count to 2-1 in his last at bat. Martin drove in a run on a fielder's choice. The 2-1 just misses on the outside part of the plate. That's been very consistent from the home plate umpire so far tonight, but Farrell doesn't get that call. It's now a 3-1 count to Martin.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of gift strikes on that outside part of the plate, not so that time.
Farrell now very outside on that pitch, and it goes for ball 4. So Martin is on to lead off this inning for Shrewsbury. Second time that Shrewsbury has had the leadoff man on in this ball game. The first time came with Twitchell back in the first inning. And that'll bring up Jack Gardner, the number 4 hitter and the designated hitter for Shrewsbury tonight.
It was a better inning for Farrell last inning. The only base runner allowed was on the error at second base for McMillan, but now not off to the best start here in the third with the leadoff walk.
Last time he allowed the leadoff runner back in the first inning, Shrewsbury plated 3. So Farrell looking to work around a leadoff walk he'll have to deal with Gardner with no out. Shrewsbury leading 3-0 in the top of the third inning. First pitch of the at-bat catches the outside part of the plate for strike one.
So there it is again, just about the same pitch that was ruled ball 3 to Nick Martin, this time ruled a strike.
You just have to remain consistent with it. The home plate umpire was good about it in the early innings, now seems to be tailing off it. The 0-1 misses in the dirt. Excuse me, the 1-0 now make it 2-0. Excuse me, that one was called a strike, so 1-1 is the count. My apologies. Martin is the runner at first. The 1-1 is in the dirt. Martin decides to go to second base. The ball gets far enough away from Reynolds, allows Martin to advance to second base, and now a runner in scoring position, and it's a 2-1 count on the cleanup hitter, Jack Gardner. Gardner's coming off a very solid game yesterday against Eastside. He recorded 2 hits. One of them was a home run in that ball game, and he drove in 2. So now with a runner at second base, he has an opportunity to bring in another run here. Would be his first RBI of the night. He walked in his first at bat back in the first inning. 2-1 the count. Martin at second. The pitch from Farrell misses high. 3-1 the count.
You know, execution is really the key in these matchups, Anthony. We look back to that game last week at Shrewsbury High School. The one error that Milford committed in the game came back to hurt them, allowing the first run of the game. And now here we've seen sloppy play all the way around, leading to opportunities for post 397.
That 3-1 pitch from Farrell finds the outside part of the plate for strike 2. And absolutely a game when they played flawless defense against Sturbridge yesterday. They've now booted the ball around a little bit. The pitching hasn't been necessarily sharp so far. A couple of walks and hits in these early innings allowed by Farrell. The 3-2 pitch is grounded over toward shortstop. Sanchioni with the backhand now throws it onto first base. Had to be dug, and it gets by the first baseman LeBlanc. The runner from second, Martin, is going to come all the way around to score. And Gardner advances all the way to second base. So what looked like a routine play, Sanchioni fielded it cleanly with the backhand, threw on to first base. LeBlanc isn't able to pick it. And Shrewsbury jumps out to a 4-0 lead as Martin crosses the plate. And right on cue, Tim, Milford showing sloppy defense again.
Yeah, that might end up going in the books as a single and then an E6 on the throw, allowing the runner to advance to second base. And then you see once again the good heads-up base running for Shrewsbury as Martin already broke for third while that throw was on its way to first. Once it got away, he had no problem scoring.
So that'll bring in Thomas Michella for Shrewsbury, post 397. He takes a strike on the outside part of the plate for strike 1. Shrewsbury now leading 4-0. We're in the top of the third inning. Still no outs in this inning. That one misses low for ball 1. Michella flew out to the first baseman LeBlanc in his first at bat back in the first inning.
50-50. Stop right here.
Farrell with a long stare into Reynolds. He finally comes set from the stretch. Here's the 1-1. Misses high. 2-1 the count. Sorry, Tim.
No activity in the bullpen yet, Anthony, but you have to imagine if this inning continues to go the way it is going right now, still no outs recorded, we might start to see an arm loosening out there.
Looks like I maybe see a little bit of rumblings in the dugout now. I saw a catcher and potentially a pitcher start to head down as this one is fouled behind home plate by Michella, evening the count at 2-2.
The only bad side to Nate Irwin making the spot start yesterday is he will not be available in the bullpen here today. You would think ordinarily that would be the arm to go to in this situation, but Coach DeVito will have to look elsewhere.
Definitely one of the best relievers out of the Milford bullpen this season. Came in with 3 wins out of that bullpen. He picked up number 4 yesterday as a starter. A check swing by Michella. The field umpire says he does not go around, so that runs the count full, 3-2. Still no outs in this inning. Shrewsbury leading by a score of 4-0. We're in the top of the third. Michael Farrell looking to get Michella out for the first out of this inning. Runner at second base is Gardner. The payoff pitch is looked at on the outside part of the plate for strike 3. A big first out. Michella just lets that one go by. Give him a backwards K for the first out in the top of the third inning.
And that's the kind of command that we got very used to seeing out of Michael Farrell last season. It hasn't been at times quite as sharp as what he demonstrated a year ago. We already see the 2 walks here. He only had 4 walks in all of last season. He's gone well beyond that total in his 4 starts now in 2017.
And he's gotten a little lucky so far. That outside part of the plate has been very generous. Again, another strike on the outside part of the plate granted by the home plate umpire for strike one to Casey Boudreau. Now a breaking ball that doesn't break, almost caught Boudreau off the left shoulder, but he ducks out of the way for ball one. 1-1 the count, 1 out in the inning. Shrewsbury's already scored 1 in this inning. They lead 4-0 here in the top of the third. The 1-1. Let it go by, did Boudreau, but it is a strike at the top of the zone. 1-2 the count. Dylan Zona is the hitter on deck. Boudreau singled in a run in his last at bat. Here's Farrell's 1-2. Swung on and missed. Foul tipped into the glove of Reynolds. Another strikeout for Michael Farrell. Again, a good pitch on the outside part of the plate. And now, after a little bit of a sloppy start to this inning, Farrell has settled down and got 2 back-to-back strikeouts.
And pitching with a little anger in these last 2 at-bats. He's frustrated with how this outing has gone so far, and you've seen that intensity now ramp up in those last 2 batters. He needs to try to harness that as this game continues to go on.
Looking for the final out of this inning. This ball squirts through Reynolds' legs on a breaking pitch, allowing Gardner to advance to third base. And you can't really blame Farrell for pitching with a little bit of anger. The defense hasn't been great behind him, and he struggled himself by the standards that he sets for himself. Looking to get out of this inning, allowing only 1 run. Shrewsbury leads 4-0. Farrell comes set, his 1-0. Misses low, 2-0. Zona at the dish now. The number 7 hitter for Shrewsbury did strike out in his last at bat. He was the final hitter for Shrewsbury to come to the plate in the first inning when they scored 3 runs. The 2-0 from Farrell. And Zona sends it out to right field. That one's going to fall in. Gardner will score from third base. And the number 7 hitter for Shrewsbury comes through with an RBI single, gives Shrewsbury a 5-0 lead.
They just continue to put the pressure on, and Zona bouncing back after that called strike 3 in his first at bat, sending that one out to shallow right field, and does the job bringing Gardner in with now the 5th Shrewsbury run, and it is now Alex Gunfriday who was warming up in the bullpen. So Farrell, who was trying to get out of this inning with no further damage, continues to struggle.
And now Galvin sends this one out to center field. Rebello, settles under it, and that will retire the side. But Shrewsbury does get 2 more runs. They lead by a score of 5-0. We'll head to the bottom of the third inning. Milford looking to get on the board. We'll be right back with coverage of Milford Legion Baseball on My FM 101.3. Milford is yet to find the run column here in this game, trailing by a score of 5-0 as we head to the bottom of the third inning. Shrewsbury plated 2 runs in their top half of the inning, so they now have a 5-run advantage. It'll take something out of the bottom of the Milford order to start a rally. Jake LeBlanc and Dawson McMillan, the 8 and 9 hitters, and then we'll go back to the top with Joe Sanchione due up in this inning. But first it'll be Jake LeBlanc to start this bottom of the third inning. Milford with only 1 hit so far. That was Nocera's hit back in the second inning. The first pitch from Hummer misses very far and very high for ball 1.
Coach DeVito rallying the team around outside of the first base dugout in between innings. He was a little bit animated, trying to put some energy back into his squad.
LeBlanc swings over the top of that pitch for strike 1. 1-1 the count on the Milford first baseman. He had a very good day at the plate yesterday against Sturbridge, 3 for 3. The third pitch of this at-bat from Hummer catches the outside part of the plate for strike 2. 1-2 the count. Here's Hummer's pitch. Very far outside, 2-2.
Taking some much more confident at-bats lately has been Jake LeBlanc. That game-winning hit against Northbridge, really a turning point in his season.
The 2-2 from Hummer is swung on and missed for strike 3. Hummer gets his second strikeout of the game. This one goes to LeBlanc for the first out of the bottom of the third inning. And in steps the Milford second baseman and number 9 hitter, Dawson McMillan. First pitch from Hummer is grounded right back to him. He'll run over towards first base and now flip on to Zona for the second out of the inning. A very quick start to this bottom of the third inning for Hummer and Shrewsbury. 2 quick outs, and we go back to the top of the Milford order now, Joe Sanchione.
You know, Anthony, A lot of quick at-bats for Milford so far in this game, and that's been a huge difference on the other side. Now, granted, the command has been excellent so far from Hummer, but Milford has to try to find a way to work this pitch count a little bit if they can.
They don't even have a chance to breathe the way Hummer's working as Sanchioni takes the ball in the dirt for ball 1. 1-0 the count to Sanchioni. This one from Hummer catches the outside part of the plate. 1-1 the count, 2 outs in this inning. Shrewsbury leading by a score of 5-0. They just recently scored 2 in their top half of the third inning. This one runs inside on Sanchioni, almost hit him, but he jumps back out of the way for ball 2.
Yeah, Sanchioni not doing very much to get out of the way there. He'll take first base any way he can get it.
Milford will take a base runner right about now. This one is sliced down the right field line, but it falls harmlessly into foul territory. 2-2 the count on the Milford leadoff hitter. He flew out to center field in his first at bat. The wind continues to blow here at Pheno Field, back in towards the infield. A ball put in the air is not going to travel very far. The 2-2 from Hummer. Lined right up the middle. It's fielded by Boudreau, and now it's bobbled. He'll throw on to first base, but it's late. Sanchioni beats it out. A little bobble by Boudreau was just enough to allow Sanchioni to reach, and Milford has a runner on with 2 outs in the bottom of the third. That'll send up Sean Rebello.
Well, that's the first chink in the armor so far tonight for Shrewsbury. They've been so sound, but a little bit of a bobble at second base for Boudreau, and so an E4 gives Milford a little bit of life in this third inning.
Looked like Boudreau had it in his glove and then went to throw and he dropped it, but Milford will take the base runner anyway. Rebello with a big swing and miss for strike 1, 2 outs in this inning. Aiden Wild is the hitter on deck. If Milford can get to that part of the order, they'll start getting into the meat of the order. The 0-1 to Rebello. He lines it out to right field. That one's going to fall in front of Galvin in right for a base hit. Now Galvin bobbles it in right, but Sanchioni is going to stay right where he is at second base. Milford not taking any chances, down by 5 runs. But the 1 and 2 hitters finding their way on base, this time Rebello. And Milford has something cooking with 2 outs.
It was clear that Sean Rebello had it in his mind coming up to the plate that he wanted to hit the ball to the opposite field. The first at bat, he was off balance, trying to poke that ball into right. The second time around, though, he's able to get the job done for the single.
And he gets it now to this middle part of the order. Aiden Wild, the number 3 hitter and the designated hitter for post 59. The first pitch from Hummer to Wild is fouled off down the right field line, out of play for strike 1. So Milford threatening here with 2 outs in the bottom of the third inning. Sanchioni is the runner at second, with Rebello the runner at first, Wild the hitter. The 0-1 pitch from Hummer misses in the dirt. Good stop on the backhand by Nick Martin. He pops up and allows no runners for Milford to advance.
Aiden Wild's batting average dipping just under the 500 mark after an 0 for day yesterday. He came into yesterday's action right at 500, so trying to get hot once again at the plate.
This breaking ball from Hummer falls in for strike 2. Wild did ground out in his first at bat. The shortstop to the first baseman to retire Wild, so hitless in his last few at bats.
You know you're going well when dipping the batting average under 500 means you're in a slump.
Yeah, he's doing all right, I guess. Certainly one of the better hitters for this Milford Legion team, also for Coach Pellegrini and the Milford Scarlet Hawks. Batted well over 400 during that season as well, and was one of the main cogs to lead Milford past Stoughton in the first round of the Division II South bracket. So Aiden Wild doing it for both high school and post 59, looking to come through in a big spot here. Runners at first and second with 2 outs in the bottom of the third. Post 59 hoping to get into the run column. The 1-2 pitch from Hummer. Wild swings and pops it up on the infield. The third baseman takes charge. That is Moschella. He settles under it and retires the Milford threat. Milford gets runners on first and second, but can't do anything with it. We'll go to the top of the 4th inning. Shrewsbury will look to continue to add to their lead. We'll be right back with coverage of Milford Legion baseball on My FM 101.3. 9-1-2 due up for Shrewsbury in the top of the 4th inning. They have a 5-0 advantage over post 59 Milford. David Turco steps in on the right side part of the plate to face Milford pitcher Michael Farrell, who continues to toe the rubber despite struggling on in these first 3 innings. Farrell's first pitch to Turco misses up and away for ball 1. However, Farrell did get the best of Turco in the shortstop's first at bat back in the second inning, struck him out looking. The 1-1 misses in the dirt.
And that was pitch number 70 on the night for Michael Farrell, so that pitch count getting up there now as this 4th inning gets underway.
This one is lined out towards center field. Settling under it is Rebello. Hit right at him. He makes the catch for the first out of the inning. Hit right on the screws by Turco, but he has nothing to show for it for the first out in the top of the 4th.
And in between at bats here, just a quick heads up at some of the schedule around Zone 4. There were 3 5:30 games on the schedule tonight. Maine South versus Leominster, North County versus Eastside, and Northbridge against Wachusett. We'll effort to get some game updates on those scores as the night goes along.
So that sends it to the top of the order. Adam Twitchell steps in on the right side for Shrewsbury. His first pitch he fouls off behind home plate for strike 1. Twitchell is having a good day, been on base twice, reached via hit in the first inning and then reached on an error by Dawson McMillan in the second inning. He's also swiped a couple of bags in this ball game tonight. The 0-1, a breaking pitch, drops in for strike 2.
Twitchell's a good player to have in that top spot of the lineup. Really sets the tone with some good aggressive play.
Twitchell, a graduate from Shrewsbury High School last year, jumps out of the way of this pitch, and it's called strike 3 by the home plate umpire. Twitchell actually jumped over that pitch. It looked like it was in his own batter's box, but Michael Farrell will take it anyway. Twitchell had quite a few words with the home plate umpire on his way back, but mark that up as Michael Farrell's 5th strikeout. He'll take it any way he can get it right now, and that'll bring it to the number 2 hitter for Shrewsbury, Christian Jordan. He lays a bunt down the third base line. Farrell is going to field it with the bare hand, throws on to first base, and he is just safe at the first base bag. LeBlanc couldn't stretch out far enough, and the throw was just late. Christian Jordan beating out an infield bunt single for his 2nd hit of the day.
Boy, I tell you, Anthony, at first glance, I didn't think Farrell was even going to have a chance at making that a play at first base, but he got to the ball quickly and released a hard, accurate throw and ended up making it a bang-bang play at first base, and just beating it out by a running step was Jordan.
A very athletic play by Farrell. Monahan had no chance at third base to come in and get that ball. It was only Farrell. But Jordan reaches it first, and that'll bring in Nick Martin. And looks like time was called before that pitch was delivered. Farrell did make the throw to home plate, but the home plate umpire did not call that one either a ball or a strike, so time was called. So now the official first pitch of the bat to Martin. The runner from first is going, and that ball bounces in the dirt. Reynolds has no shot. He doesn't even come up with it cleanly. And another stolen base for Shrewsbury. Give this one to Christian Jordan. So 1-0 count to Nick Martin. He has a runner in scoring position with 2 outs. Shrewsbury looking to tack on to this already 5-0 lead in the top of the 4th inning. The Shrewsbury High School graduate awaiting the 1-0 is sliced foul down the right field line into the stands.
And of course, as this game goes on, we do want to continue to keep you updated on Red Sox baseball. We will bring you out to Fenway Park at the conclusion of our Legion broadcast tonight. That game right now in the bottom of the 3rd inning with the Twins edging the Red Sox by a score of 1-0. Joe Maurer with the only RBI.
Martin sends one out to center field. Rebello chasing to his left. He finally ranges under it and makes the catch. For the final out of this inning, Shrewsbury does threaten again at getting a runner to second base on a single followed by a stolen base, but Farrell pitches his way out of yet another Shrewsbury jam. And we go to the bottom of the 4th inning. Milford still looking for their first run of this ball game. They trail 5-0 at the hands of Shrewsbury. We'll be right back with coverage of Milford Legion baseball on My FM 101.3. Thank you, Tim. We head to the bottom of the 4th inning. Milford trailing 5-0 at the hands of Shrewsbury. 4, 5, 6 due up for post 59 in this inning, beginning with Tyler Monahan. He's first pitch swinging and lifts a towering fly ball into the parking lot. down the right field line, out of play. Let's hope nobody goes home with a broken windshield tonight. 0-1 the count to Monahan. That one misses away, 1-1. Hummer now into his 4th inning of work. He's only allowed 2 hits. Monahan rips this one down third base, but a great stop by Michella on one bounce. Throws across the diamond to Zona for the first out of the inning. A great pick at third base by Michella on a hard hit line drive that took one bounce right in front of him from Monahan. That's why they call it the hot corner, Tim, but Michella handled it very cleanly.
Yeah, an excellent play. Good hands from Michella over at third base. The ball hit very hard, and we've seen Tyler Monahan collect a lot of hits, sending them hard towards third base, but not that time, so he'll look on now to try to extend the hitting streak.
And now Reynolds lifts this one out toward shortstop. A good leaping play by Turco. Had him ranging on a step or two to the outfield grass, but 2 quick outs for Kevin Hummer. And Shrewsbury is Milford already with 2 outs in their bottom of the 4th inning. Alex Reynolds is 0 for 2 on the day, and that'll send it to Kyle Nocera. And he'll look to continue his torrid hot streak right now. 7 hits in his last 7 at-bats. He's singled back in the 2nd. First pitch from Hummer, and Nocera is first pitch swinging. And what do you know? Finds some space between the first and second baseman. Make it 8 hits in 8 at-bats for Nocera. And he's on first base with 2 outs in the bottom of the 4th inning. Milford will need a few more of those. Still down 5-0.
You cannot stop Kyle Nocera right now. You can only hope to contain him, and so far 2 for 2 in this game, providing 2 of the only 3 hits Milford has to this point.
So that'll send in the lefty, Zach Sisitsky. He takes a ball in the dirt, making it a 1-0 count. 2 outs in this inning. Monahan grounded out to the third baseman, and Reynolds lined out to the shortstop, Turco. The 1-0. Breaking ball drops in, evening the count at 1-1. Sisitsky grounded out to the first baseman, Zona, who took it himself to retire the left fielder in his last at-bat. The 1-1. Looked like Hummer pulled the string, might have been a changeup, but it catches the outside part of the plate. First strike 2. 1-2 the count to the Milford left fielder. Hummer looking to work around a 2-out single by Nocera. His 1-2 pitch. Again on the outside part of the plate. It's been a generous pitch all night. And this time Kevin Hummer gets it for the 3rd out of the bottom of the 4th inning. Milford has still been unable to find the run column. Still trailing by 5 runs at the hands of Shrewsbury. They'll go to the top of the 5th inning. We'll be right back with coverage of Milford Legion Baseball on My FM 101.3. So Shrewsbury's starter, Kevin Hummer, is allowed a hit in the last 3 innings, but Milford has nothing to show for it. Post 59 trailing post 397, 5-0 as we head to the top of the 5th inning. Michael Farrell again quickly going to work. He deals in a ball to Jack Gardner, and now he finds the strike zone with this pitch for strike 1. 1-1 the count to the cleanup hitter for Shrewsbury. The designated hitter is Gardner. He's been on base 1 time. He walked in his first at bat. He now sends this one out to right field. Coming on is Nocera. He can't make the sliding play. It's going to get by him. Gardner is on his way to second base. And it's a leadoff double for Jack Gardner to begin this top of the 5th inning. That one landing right in front of Nocera. He had to go into the shoestring dive, but couldn't come up with it, and that ball rolled by him. Very spacious outfield here at Pheno Field. I'll give him a double.
And you love the effort from Kyle Nocera, but might have been better off playing that ball on a hop instead, making the hero play, coming in on the slide to try to make the catch, and the ball gets by him, and it means an extra base for Gardner. So that may very well go in the books as a single and an error.
And this ball is grounded over to shortstop. They now have Gardner in a pickle between second and third. Monahan runs him back to second base. Now they throw to McMillan. McMillan's now going to run him towards third base. That's now Farrell covering the third base bag. So they do get Gardner on the ground ball by Moschella. That was just bad base running by Gardner. That ball was hit in front of him to the shortstop, Sanchioni. And he got caught between second and third. A quick rundown for the Milford defense. So good execution that time. The defense has been sloppy at times tonight, but good job that time to get the lead runner out. Moschella is on at first base on the fielder's choice, so with 1 out, runner at first base brings in Casey Boudreau. This ball is grounded out towards Sanchioni again. He'll flip on to McMillan, and a very athletic play just to knock that ball down. He had it in his glove momentarily, but McMillan drops it. Both runners are going to be safe. Michella at second and Boudreau at first. Looked like Milford was going to get at least one, but not a great throw by Sanchioni, pulling Dawson McMillan off the bag. He had it in his glove at first and then dropped it. So rather than 2 outs, Milford still only has 1 out in this top of the 5th inning.
Yeah, unclear what the safe ruling was there. It appeared that it was a snow cone catch for McMillan, but maybe the foot coming off the bag. It was a bang-bang play at the base with the runner bearing down.
This brings in Dylan Zona. He's 1 for 2 on the night, struck out in his first at-bat, but did lace an RBI single in the 3rd inning. Looking to add to this already 5-0 Shrewsbury lead. Runners at first and second. The pitch from Farrell misses. 2 straight balls from the Bellingham High School graduate. 2-0 the count. Farrell attends Roger Williams University. His 2-0 bounded towards the third baseman Monahan. He runs over to third. Now a strong throw across the diamond. No chance to get Zona. Monahan is able to get the lead runner out at third base. That is Michella. But now 2 down in Shrewsbury's top half of the 5th inning.
Good heads-up play for Monahan to go right to the third base bag to get the lead runner. Sent a good throw across the diamond, made it close, but Zona just able to beat it out.
Unfortunately, Monahan was just a tad too far away. Had to go back to his right a good ways to tag that third base bag, and by the time he was able to throw across, Zona had already reached first base. Now the first pitch to Patrick Galvin, the Shrewsbury right fielder, misses up and away for ball 1. Galvin 0 for 2 on the evening, grounded out to the second baseman in his first at bat, and flew out to the center fielder in the 3rd. This ball is bounded right up the middle, gets by Farrell. Sanchioni now gets it and tags second base. A good play by Sanchioni. He had to dive and tag second base with his glove, but he made it look easy, and Milford works out of another threat. We'll go to the bottom of the 5th inning. Milford doesn't allow a run to score in Shrewsbury's top half, but they need a couple of runs of their own to tie this one up. They trail 5-0. We'll be right back with coverage of Milford Legion Baseball on My FM 101.3. Milford with only 9 more outs to play with in this ball game unless they can find a way to tie it up. They're trailing by 5 runs as we head to the bottom of the 5th inning. Jake LeBlanc set to lead it off for post 59 in this bottom of the 5th. Shrewsbury has tacked on runs in the 1st and 3rd inning to give them this 5-0 lead. As now first pitch swinging is LeBlanc. He pops it up on the infield. The second baseman Boudreau drifts to his left and settles under it for the first out of the inning.
So far, Milford's had base runners in each of the last 3 innings, but they've all come with 2 outs. We're seeing too many quick and easy outs. Early on in these innings, they're making it very easy on Kevin Hummer.
And he's pitched well so far. Only 3 hits allowed through 4 innings of work. He struck out 3 as well so far. As the first pitch to Dawson McMillan misses for ball 1. The 1-0. Make it 1-1 now. Fastball finds the strike zone, evening the count at 1-1 with 1 out. Pitch from Hummer. He works quickly, finds the strike zone at the bottom half of the zone. 1-2 on the Milford second baseman. Hummer already back into his windup. Here's the pitch. Foul tipped into the catcher Martin's glove. Strike 3. And he makes quick work of Dawson McMillan, does Kevin Hummer. 2 very quick outs. First one to LeBlanc on the pop-up to the second baseman. Now McMillan, strikeout swinging. Goes back to the top of the order. Joe Sanchioni for Milford. He's 0 for 2. It's been a tale of 2 different pitchers tonight. Hummer misses with a breaking ball. 1-0 to Sanchioni. Another one on the outside part of the plate. This one finds the strike zone. 1-1 the count. Michael Farrell from Milford has labored through 5 innings, while Kevin Hummer has gone pretty seamlessly through 4 innings of work, 4 2/3 innings of work. No runs allowed for the post 397 starter so far. The 1-1 to Sanchioni is trickled foul towards the Shrewsbury dugout for strike 2.
And you look at the man on deck right now, Sean Rebello. You wish more of these Milford batters would take the approach that Sean took in his previous at-bat, looking to go to the opposite field. We've seen a very good live fastball out of Hummer so far tonight, and these Milford hitters have really struggled to do anything with it.
Either that or just join Kyle Nocera for breakfast, because whatever he's doing is working right now. He's 2 for 2 on the night. But first, it's Joe Sanchioni before we get any deeper in this Milford order. Sanchioni is 0 for 2, flew out in the first inning and reached on an error in the third inning. The 1-2 from Hummer. Again, tapped foul at home plate. We'll redo the 1-2 pitch. Sean Rebello is on deck, as you mentioned, Tim. He's 1 for 2 on the night. But it'll take something from Joe Sanchioni to get to that point. The 1-2 again, and a breaking pitch drops in on the inside part of the plate. 4 strike 3, back-to-back strikeouts in this bottom of the 5th inning for Kevin Hummer. So Milford just has no answer for the Shrewsbury starter right now. They'll need to play the gloves again, hoping to keep this deficit at only 5 runs. When we get back, Tim will be back on the call. We'll be right back with coverage of Milford Legion Baseball on My FM 101.3.
As we get started for the top half of the 6th inning, a new pitcher on now for post 59. Michael Farrell's day is done, going the first 5, allowing all 5 runs to Shrewsbury. And it will now be the lefty Alex Gunfriday, the first arm utilized out of the pen. We've seen Gunfriday make a couple of starts on the season. He was able to collect the victory in the Mercy Rule win against Northborough back on Sunday. And he will now face batters 9, 1, and 2 in the Shrewsbury batting order. And the first pitch swung on and missed by David Turco, who is 0 for 2 out of this number 9 spot.
Turco did have an RBI in Shrewsbury's last game against Eastside. No runners on this time, however.
And a wave and a miss. And certainly a change of pace now for these Shrewsbury batters. Gunfriday shows off a lot of off-speed pitches, including the knuckleball. And now misses up and away with the 0-2. And the count goes to 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Also just a different view out of his hand with the lefty on the mound compared to the Farrell right-handed delivery.
The 1-2 pitch lifted in the air out to center field, settling underneath is Rebello. He is there to make the catch. And Turco is retired for out number 1. Of course, we are also still monitoring the activity over at Fenway Park. The score unchanged between the Red Sox and Twins, and 1-0 Minnesota lead. Minnesota trying to earn a split of that 4-game series. The Red Sox hoping to take 3 out of 4. It's David Price on the mound for the Red Sox.
Oh, great.
He has allowed 1 earned run so far in the game on 3 strikeouts, and the confidence abounds from Anthony Mazzini.
Just showing me nothing so far.
A quick 2-ball, no strike count on the Shrewsbury leadoff batter, Adam Twitchell. Twitchell's been on base twice so far tonight, touching off that 3-run first inning rally with a bunt single. He reached on an error in the second, did strike out looking in the 4th. Now ready to see a 2-1 pitch. And it's framed by Reynolds, but it misses outside for ball 3, and it's another one of those close pitches that this time is ruled a ball by the home plate umpire. So now the 3-1 pitch, and that is in for a called strike. And once again, we see a Shrewsbury batter discard the bat and trot down to first base.
Yeah, Twitchell's been very upset with the home plate umpire tonight, again having the word with the home plate umpire. That last strikeout he had to jump over the ball. So I mean, you got to give him a break a little bit, I guess.
So now the payoff pitch, and this is sent out to left center field. A long run for Rebello. He dives. He cannot make the catch. It's backed up by Sisitsky. Now the throw into second base is not in time, and diving in safely with a 1-out double is Adam Twitchell.
Good effort in left center field by Rebello. Unfortunately, after ranging a long ways to his right coming in, again, the ball just dying in the outfield tonight with the wind. Had to come in a long way, did Rebello, but he's unable to make the play, and just good speed all night so far by Twitchell, and we see it again running all the way to second base for a double.
So the first hit allowed by the relief pitcher, Alex Gunfriday. And now first pitch swinging, we see Christian Jordan send one in the air out to shallow center field. An easier play for Sean Rebello. He makes the catch and then quickly sends the throw back on the infield, keeping Twitchell at second with now 2 down.
Couple of flyouts to center field in this inning. The first one for David Turco, the number 9 hitter, and now Christian Jordan. But again, with this wind, it's just dying. Pretty still right now. Flag in center field is relatively motionless. But when it blows, it's been blowing pretty hard all night. Nothing is traveling here. You're going to see very few balls go out of this ballpark anyway, with all the fences hovering around 340 feet from home plate.
With 2 outs now and the runner at scoring position, Nick Martin will take the first pitch outside for ball 1.
And that's one of those pitches that's been kind of off and on the last couple of innings after it was called a strike for most of the early innings.
It's been difficult for the hitters and the pitchers as well. It's been a guessing game on that outside part of the plate to these righty batters, and now granted time at the plate was Martin, reaching on a fielder's choice back in the first. He scored a run. He scored a run again in the 3rd inning after reaching on a walk. A big lead at second base for Twitchell. And now the pitch from Gunfriday. And this time it hits the outside edge for a called strike. One ball, 1 strike, 2 outs, and a man in scoring position at second. As Gunfriday comes to the plate. And the pitch is high. Alex Gunfriday bringing an ERA of 2.10 to the mound, a record of 2-0. He'd thrown 10 innings coming into this appearance. Here is the 2-1 pitch, and that is up and away. Gunfriday with just 2 walks coming into this appearance tonight versus 10 strikeouts. But a 3-ball count here, and the pitch is in the dirt for ball 4. So there is a walk issued by Gunfriday, and that will now put runners at first and second base for the Shrewsbury cleanup hitter, Jack Gardner, who has not been retired yet tonight.
Second time Martin is walked. He walked back in the 3rd inning and now here in the 6th. So Shrewsbury threatening yet again. Twitchell at second, Martin at first, and the number 4 hitter, Jack Gardner, due up. As I mentioned earlier, he homered in yesterday's game against Eastside.
And the pitch called a strike. Reynolds bluffing the throw down to second base. He holds on to it and eventually sends it back to the pitcher. A no-ball, 1-strike count on Gardner.
Big lead out at second base by Twitchell.
Here's the pitch. And it's sent in the air out to center field. Another chance for Rebello. The wind playing with this ball a bit, but no problem for Sean Rebello. He gets it in the glove, and that will be the final out here in the top of the 6th inning. A double and a walk allowed by Alex Gunfriday, but he does not allow a run. And we will head to the bottom of the 6th inning. Time starting to wear thin for Post 59. They trail Shrewsbury by a score of 5-0 as we continue to bring you coverage of Milford Legion baseball here on My FM 101.3. It'll be batters 2, 3, and 4 in the inning against the very tough starting pitcher for Shrewsbury, Kevin Hummer. So Milford really running out of time. They have some good bats coming up in the inning trying to get something going. This is the deepest we've seen Milford go into a game this season without producing any offense. But a quick 0-2 count against Sean Rebello, and now one that nearly hits the outside part of the plate, but it's ruled ball 1. 1-2 now the count. Hummer not wasting any time as this ball is now poked slowly to second base. Waiting for it is Boudreau. He throws to first, and he's able to get it there in time, and Rebello is out number 1 in the 6th.
Rebello almost beat that throw out from Boudreau. Just a really lightly hit bounding chopper over to Boudreau, but a couple bounces allowed Rebello to get down that line fairly quickly. Good speed, and he beats it, doesn't beat it, almost beat it by like a half a step or so.
So Milford, for now 6 innings tonight, has failed to get their leadoff man on base. And now Aiden Wild aggressively going after the first pitch out of the hand of Hummer, but he fouls it to the backstop.
Milford, with only 3 hits in this ball game overall, so really a poor offensive night for Post 59.
And now a 1-ball, 1-strike count. Aiden Wild so far has grounded out to shortstop and popped out to third base, popping out with runners at first and second and 2 outs in the third inning. That was Milford's best scoring opportunity. It's also the only time they've gotten a runner to second base in this game. 2 balls and 1 strike with 1 out and the base is clear. And the righty's next pitch is hit foul up over the backstop, over the press box, and out of play to even the count at 2.
This would probably be the inning that Milford needs to scratch across a couple runs. The meat of the order up now with 1 out, Wild and then Monahan on deck. So you got to start somewhere. Why not start with the big bats?
The 2-2 pitch, and that one just misses. We continue to play the guessing game on the outside part of the plate, and that time ruled ball 3, so the count is full to Aiden Wild. Here's the payoff pitch, and he takes it off the left shoulder for what turns out to be a hit by pitch. And again, Milford will welcome the base runner, not hard contact onto that shoulder for Wild as he heads down to first.
Well, it's kind of funny, Tim. Milford with their first hit by pitch of tonight. It goes to Aiden Wild, who trots down to first. But in Shrewsbury's last game against Eastside yesterday, they were hit 7 times as a team. So a little bit of a reversal in this game tonight.
Probably some bruises over there in that third base dugout after all of those hit by pitches, as now the first one into Tyler Monahan misses down and away for ball 1. And an interesting scenario here, Anthony. One thing that Kevin Hummer has not had to do very much in this game, and that is pitch with runners on.
It's also an interesting situation because Monahan, looking to extend his hitting streak, is hitless so far tonight.
And with the way things are going, this may very well be Monahan's last chance to extend that streak, as now the pickoff throw goes over to first. A good throw from Hummer, but Wild able to dive back into the first base bag. 1-1 the count to Monahan, who has flown out to center field and grounded out to third base. And he takes a called strike 2 on the outside part of the plate. That ground out in the 4th inning. It took a nifty play from Thomas Michella to get it done. A good fielding play and then an accurate throw quickly across the diamond to get Monahan. Now here's the 1-2 pitch, and that misses just inside. 2 balls and 2 strikes, the count. The set from Hummer. Here's the pitch, and this is lifted in the air down the right field line. That is high and far, but very foul, and it's off towards the Fino Field entrance. And it stays a 2-2 count.
Hummer slowing his pace down just slightly with a runner on. Checks on Wild at first, but overall Hummer has worked very quickly. And when I say just a little bit slowing his pace down, I mean maybe a second, not really anything to note.
Another 2-2, and that spins Monahan off the plate. And Monahan now has worked it into a 3-ball, 2-strike count. We'll see if Aiden Wild gets the head start at first base. Of course, the command has been extremely sharp for Hummer, and before he fires the payoff pitch, he sends a pickoff check over to first. Wild able to get back standing, and quickly a second throw. That one coming out in front of the first base bag. Dylan Zona stepping up to the grass to field that one. Hummer now ready with the payoff pitch, and this ball is lined out to shallow center field. On comes Twitchell, and he'll have to play it on a hop. And so it took much longer than we've seen it in games past, but Monahan able to dump a single out into center field, and the hitting streak lives on. Now 14 games and counting for Monahan.
All 14 games for Milford. Tyler Monahan has found his way into the hit column, and he didn't get all of this one. Handcuffed him a bit. Pitch from Hummer jammed him, but he lifted it into center field. The speedy Twitchell couldn't come in and get it. So congratulations on Tyler on extending his hitting streak, but Milford needs a few more to tie this game up at 5.
They do have 2 on with only 1 out. And ball 1 coming in outside and low to Alex Reynolds. Reynolds a strikeout victim back in the 2nd inning, then lined out to the shortstop. A nice leaping catch for David Turco. Milford trying to produce a late game rally. 1 out deep in the bottom of the 6th, the 1-0 pitch. That is in for a strike. Now a snap throw to first, and Wild just gets the hand back into the first base bag before Zona applied the tag. Very, very close. Monahan able to get back into that first base bag. A good throw from Martin behind the plate, but Monahan just gets back in.
A nifty pickoff play with the first baseman Zona playing behind Monahan. Monahan probably didn't see him coming in.
1 ball, 1 strike count, and the pitch is lifted foul over the backstop and out of play. Hummer allowing 2 base runners so far in this inning on the hit batter and the single. Only the second time Milford has had multiple runners on in a frame. The last time it happened was the 3rd. And now Hummer steps off the back of the pitcher's mound. And now resets as Reynolds digs in on the right side. A 1 ball, 2 strike count as the righty sets. And here's the pitch. It misses outside. And the count even at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Reynolds reached base twice in Milford's Mercy Rule win yesterday against Sturbridge. Had an RBI hit in the first inning. Here's the 2-2 now. And that's in for a called strike 3. Reynolds was jackknifing out of the way, but gets the bad news from the home plate ump. A big strikeout for Kevin Hummer. And there are now 2 outs in the bottom of the 6th.
The 6th strikeout from Hummer, and it comes at a pretty good time. With Milford threatening with runners at first and second, only 1 out. Reynolds, as you said, Tim, jumping out of the way of that pitch, but didn't like the call. It's been kind of inconsistent on both the outside and inside part of the plate. We saw the pitch from Twitchell, excuse me. He had to jump over that ball, and it was called a strike. So a little bit of inconsistency from the home plate umpire tonight, but you got to deal with it if you're a hitter. 2nd out of the inning for Reynolds.
So that leaves the inning in the hands of Kyle Nocera. And if there's anybody you want to come to the plate in this situation right now, it is Kyle. He is 2 for 2 in the game here today. And he has been in an otherworldly groove at the plate. Trying to produce for Milford in the clutch. 2 on and 2 out. Milford getting blanked in this game, trailing 5-0. And the first pitch of the at-bat is in for a called strike 1. Wild the lead runner at second with Monahan at first. Here's the 0-1 pitch, and that misses away. Looked like the umpire wanted to come up with the arm for the strike 2 call, but kept it at his side, and now the count evens at 1. Right back to the set goes Hummer. A peek down to second base. And now to the plate as this ball is grounded foul. That might have gotten a piece of Nocera along the way. He doesn't react much, but he's down in the count. 1 ball and 2 strikes with 2 outs in the inning. Can Milford get something going? The bats eerily quiet. They have not been shut out this season. The lowest run total they've had this year has been 2, coming back on opening day against Leominster. Here's the 1-2 pitch. And Nocera just able to get out of the way.
A couple of Milford players wanted Nocera to just wear that one on his left hip, but Nocera decides to back out of the way.
Now about to see a 2-2 pitch. And he gets it right off the end of the bat, sends it foul to the backstop. And the at-bat carries on for Nocera, dueling Kevin Hummer. The pitch count still in reasonable fashion for Hummer, who's had some real low leverage innings through much of this game. Pitching with 2 on and 2 out here in the 6th, another 2-2 pitch, and this one in the dirt. But blocked well by Martin. Martin really hasn't had to do much behind the plate with the way that Hummer has been in a groove through much of this game, but that time was up to the task, sliding behind the left side batter's box. So a 3-2 pitch upcoming. The runners will be off. Wild at second and Monahan at first. They go. Here's the pitch, and it drops in for a called strike 3. Took something off that one, did Kevin Hummer, and it was effective. It froze Nocera at the plate back-to-back. Called strikeouts for the Shrewsbury starter to escape this 6th inning jam. Milford strands 2 runners on And we are through 6 full innings now from Pheno Field. It is a 5-0 lead for Shrewsbury over Milford here on coverage of Milford Legion Baseball on MyFM 101.3. Alex Gunfriday quickly ready to get this top of the 7th inning started. Deals in a called strike 1 to the third baseman, Thomas Michella. Already into the 7th inning in this one. It's been a fairly fast-moving game. An hour and 40 minutes to get us to this 7th inning. The only offense we've seen has come on the visitors' side. 3 runs in the first inning, 2 runs in the second inning for Shrewsbury. Building up an early 5-0 lead, and that is the score as we play into this top of the 7th. A 2-1 count to Michella, as now he pops this ball up. Reynolds can't find it, now catches it, but it is beyond the backstop, and it will even the count at 2-2. Hard to pick up that ball again with this swirling breeze around the Pheno Field playing surface, but by the time Reynolds picked up the side of that ball, it was far beyond the backstop.
And this lead for Shrewsbury could be a lot more than 5 runs. They have left 8 runners on base tonight.
Here's the 2-2 pitch now, and that misses. Reynolds was set up outside, then had to slide back towards the inner part of the plate. And the count runs full to Michella. Reached on a fielder's choice his last time up. Here's the payoff pitch. And that misses for ball 4, not missing by very much. But a leadoff walk for Michella here in the 7th. Milford with their best scoring chance of the game in the bottom of the 6th inning, getting 2 runners on with only 1 out, but more excellent pitching out of Kevin Hummer, getting back-to-back strikeouts to shut down the inning. Has his team 3 defensive outs away from a statement win here at Pheno Field. Milford winning on Shrewsbury's turf last Wednesday in come-from-behind fashion, 3-2. It was in the 7th inning where Milford was able to break through for their rally. They were held off the scoreboard through the first 6. So hoping history repeats itself here in this game, although the deficit much larger here tonight. It was just a 1-run deficit entering the 7th inning at Shrewsbury. Now a 5-0 deficit at minimum, staring Milford in the face as they come to the plate in the bottom of the 7th. Here's a 1-1 pitch now, and it misses outside. Snap throw to first, and the runner is back with a dive.
Good snap throw that time by Reynolds, and a good tag by LeBlanc, but good awareness by Michella to dive back in safely towards the back part of that first base bag, making it just a little bit harder for LeBlanc to apply the tag.
The next pitch from Gunfriday, that is a strike. We've neglected to mention it until this point, but our good friends from Milford TV are here covering the action tonight, which means you can catch this game in its entirety over on the Milford TV educational channel and on YouTube within the next 24 to 48 hours, I would say. Rob is very quick with that turnaround rate on these games. Of course, I think this one turned out to be a little bit of a cooler game than Rob anticipated. Out there in the shirt sleeves down the third base line, looks a little chilly down there.
He always likes to go for those sleeveless shirts. I mean, sometimes it pays off, but nights like this, definitely not.
This ball sent out to shallow right field. Another tough play for Nocera, but got a good break. He makes the catch, and a base running blunder at first base as Michella gets caught far off the bag, and he will be doubled off. Mark it down as a 9-3 double play.
And that's high risk, high reward that time by Michella, except he got the short end of the stick on that one. Nocera coming in and making a great play, charging in on that ball. If it lands, Michella's going to be at third base, and he kind of anticipated on that ball falling in. Almost a great read by Michella, but an even better play by Nocera out in right field for the double play, 9-3.
So there are 2 outs now. The bases are empty. Dylan Zona at the plate, and he jumps ahead in the count. 2 balls and no strikes. Gunfriday now accepts the sign from Reynolds, and the pitch is in for a called strike. A long look in again for Gunfriday. Now delivers, and that one, yet another generous call on the outside part of the plate. And it's a 2-ball, 2-strike count. Gunfriday trying to get out of the inning here. Here's the pitch, and that one inside and low, and that fills the count. We've got a Red Sox update coming up momentarily, but first, the payoff pitch to Dylan Zona, and a ball that narrowly misses, and that allows Zona to reach on the 2-out walk. The Red Sox trying to mount a comeback of their own over at Fenway Park. They do get a run back on a solo home run from Mookie Betts. So it is now a 3-1 score. Minnesota remains in the lead. Boston being out hit by Minnesota 5-3. They trail on the scoreboard 3-1. And again, we will get you out to the remainder of that game as soon as we wrap up post-game coverage here from Pheno Field. But first, Patrick Galvin able to take in at bat here in the top of the 7th inning with a runner at first. And sends one hard and foul off the roof of the third base dugout. And everyone ducking for cover as that ball was rifled right over to the Shrewsbury dugout, hit off the front of the roof. Can't hit one much harder than that, but fortunately sent in high enough that it avoided contact with the on-deck hitter.
Yeah, that's scary. Really no time to get out of the way of that if you're anyone on that Shrewsbury side.
Runner takes off from first as this ball is looped foul off to the left and out of play.
That ball was hit practically parallel with where Galvin is standing at home plate. It was an inside pitch, too. A lot of times you'll see that if it's on the outside part and you get the end of the bat on it, but kind of hard to figure how he hit that ball like that.
Now a 1-2 pitch. It's hit on the ground through the left side for a base hit, just getting past Monahan. Up to second base and holding there is Michella. So now it's Shrewsbury trying to make something happen with 2 outs after a base running play took them out of an early rally in this inning, and you have to really thank the defensive effort of Kyle Nocera catching that shallow liner and able to double off the runner at first base, or else Shrewsbury would very well have an additional run on the board after that base hit.
Yeah, the soon-to-be Mount St. Charles Jr. has really put himself in a hole on the mound on Friday, walking 3 hitters in his overall outing so far, 2 in this inning, and now Shrewsbury has another threat with runners on first and second.
And a quick 2-ball, no strike count into the number 9 hitter, David Turco. 41 pitches now since coming into the game for Alex Gunfriday. Runners lead off of first and second as the pitch hits the outside part of the plate, and the count goes to 2-1. Dylan Zona is your lead runner at second base. And Gunfriday's pitch loops well up and away. A breaking ball that did not break. And now a 3-ball, 1-strike count as Gunfriday goes back to the set. And the lefty's pitch. That's in there, and it will fill the count. Now 3 balls and 2 strikes. And the runners at first and second will be off on this next offering from Gunfriday. Here it is, and it is waved at and missed for strike 3. So a big pitch there when he needed it for Gunfriday gets the first strikeout of this relief appearance, and Shrewsbury will strand another 2 runners on. They have stranded runners in every inning of this ball game, so it remains a 5-0 lead for Shrewsbury over Milford. The last chance for post 59 as they will come to the plate in the bottom half of this inning against Kevin Hummer, and we will have the bottom of the 7th for you next here on My FM 101.3. It is the starting pitcher, Kevin Hummer, back to the mound looking for the complete game effort, facing Zach Sisitsky. And already the first pitch of this 7th inning thrown, it misses for ball 1. Tim Coet and Anthony Mazzini here on the call for Milford Legion Baseball on My FM 101.3, and now a 2-0 count on Milford's starting left fielder. So far today, Sisitsky has grounded out to first and struck out looking, and a waving swing and a miss, a wild swing for Sisitsky going after that 2-0 pitch and coming up empty. Hummer right back to work, deals one in at the knees, and from 2-0, Hummer battles back to even the count. Barely hesitates, and now his next pitch is a bouncer back up the middle, ranging to make the play as the shortstop Turco, and a good accurate throw to first. Nice fundamentals once again out of the shortstop David Turco, and Milford down to their last 2 outs.
Yeah, Turco hasn't done much with the bat tonight. 2 strikeouts and 2 flyouts to center, but his defense up the middle has been superb. He's made a couple of great plays, few to his backhand, a couple charging in like we just saw there, and also a leaping play on a ball that just barely got into the outfield. So,
as now this ball is looped over the reach of the second baseman Boudreau, and this time Jake LeBlanc able to come through with a base hit, first pitch swinging, and was just able to get it over the second baseman's head. And so there is hit number 5 on the day for Milford, and they are able to produce a base runner here in the bottom of the 7th.
Well, that's one way to avoid Turco, is go the other way and send it over to Boudreau. However, Boudreau had no chance at that ball anyway. Good solid single that time by LeBlanc over the head of the second baseman.
And now McMillan, who takes a pitch inside. McMillan 0 for 2, but jumps ahead in the count. 2 balls and no strikes. You start to take stock of this Shrewsbury pitching staff. Parker Brown, an outstanding effort against Milford last week. Kevin Hummer, a sensational performance here through 6 innings at Pheno. And you also think about Matt Stansky, who Milford has not had to face yet, who has thrown a no-hitter on this season. So this looks to be a starting rotation for Shrewsbury, once again built for a deep playoff run. This time, Hummer falling behind, 3 balls and no strikes to McMillan, sends that one outside. And so a walk here to the number 9 man puts 2 on with 1 out for post 59.
Yeah, Brown actually pitched yesterday for Shrewsbury against Eastside. Allowed only 1 run in 4 innings pitched, struck out 4. So of the 2 starts the last couple days, Hummer has really one-upped him. 4 hits and 7 strikeouts over 6 plus innings pitched. But as you mentioned, Tim, just a very solid, formidable rotation that consists of 2, if not 3 guys for Shrewsbury, and that's what you need going into tournament play, is a good couple of starters.
5 straight missing the strike zone for Kevin Hummer, but now this ball is hit out to shallow right field. Some miscommunication between second baseman and right fielder, but Boudreau, the second baseman, is able to secure the catch for out number 2. The second baseman ranging onto the shallow right field grass, nearly colliding with Patrick Galvin, but Boudreau secures it, and Sanchioni aggressive going after that pitch after the command looked like it was starting to waver just a bit for Hummer, and Milford now down to their last out as Sean Ribello steps to the box. And he takes the first pitch high for ball 1.
Ribello stepping with his plant foot towards the third baseman. Any ball on the outside part of the plate is going to be tough to get to for the Milford center fielder.
And now sends this ball high in the air down the right field line. The first baseman, Zona, gives it a look, but that's off beyond the crowd. And that looked like it cleared the Pheno concession stand. And the count evens at 1-1.
Or if you step away from the pitcher, that's exactly what happened. You'll make weak contact in the air, either in the air or on the ground. And you saw that with Ribello's last foul ball.
Now the 1-1 pitch. And this is sent out towards shallow right center field. That is down for a hit. They wave LeBlanc around from third base. He will score. They will try to send McMillan to the plate as well. Here comes the throw. It's off towards the first base side, and McMillan scores as Ribello goes down to second base. He drives in 2 runs, and Milford now cuts the deficit to 3. It's now a 5-2 score.
Well, Ribello got a pitch that was over the plate enough that he's able to do something with it. Lines it out towards that right center field gap. And a very spacious outfield here at Pheno. And that ball's just going to keep rolling with no fence in sight. Patrick Galvin did a good job of cutting it off, but not before 2 Milford runners score. And now you're finally starting to see the bats come alive for Milford. We just hope it's not too little too late. We are starting to get to the meat of the order now. 3, 4, 5 coming up. But there are 2 outs, so Milford needs to stage a couple of hits here in order to tie this game up at 5. Still down by 3 runs.
A judgment call on that hit for Ribello, whether it will go as a single taking second base on the throw or if it will be double all the way. We will, as always, confer with the official scoring from the Milford dugout, but nonetheless a key hit for Ribello, driving in 2 runs. Milford needs to get another man on to bring the tying run to the plate, but they do have Aiden Wild at the dish now, who takes the first pitch for ball 1.
And he's been quiet considering his average coming into today was up around 500.
Milford trying to get some energy going in the first base dugout as this ball is hit hard back up the middle. It gets past the pitcher, but fielded by Boudreaux, but his throw to first base bounces, gets away from the first baseman, as now Rebello comes to the plate, and Aiden Wild safely down to second, just barely, as the throw came in from the edge of the field of play on target, but Wild safely slides into second base as Milford scores their third run of this inning. It's now a 5-3 game, and Milford will bring the tying run to the plate with 2 outs as Tyler Monahan prepares to dig in.
The second error of the evening on Boudreaux at second base, and this one could be costly. Would have been the final out of the ball game, but Wild is able to take second base on the errant throw, and a run scores 5-3. Milford threatening with Monahan up.
And he takes the first pitch low and away for ball 1, so yet again Tyler Monahan comes to the plate with a lot riding on the line against this Shrewsbury team. He produced with a 2-run home run against Post 397 last week. Here he sends a ball out into left field. That drops in for a base hit. Here comes Aiden Wild around from third base. He will score without a throw. It's an RBI single for Tyler Monahan. Now 4 straight runs cross the plate, all with 2 outs in this inning for Milford, and they have cut it to a 1-run deficit. And back out of the dugout now comes the Shrewsbury head coach Frank Vaccaro, and it looks like after 6 2/3 strong innings from Kevin Hummer, his day will come to an end here as Milford has cut it to a 1-run game.
And it looks like I jinxed Kevin Hummer a little bit. Said he was having such a great game, outdoing his teammate, Patrick Brown, but Hummer allowing 4 straight runs. His day will end at 6 2/3 innings pitched, 4 runs allowed. And we'll go to the bullpen for Shrewsbury.
And it looks like we'll see some corresponding defensive moves perhaps to go along with this pitching change.
Twitchell, it looks like, is maybe coming in to pitch.
It does indeed appear to be Adam Twitchell, who will come in from center field to take over on the mound. And so we'll see who eventually ranges out into center field in the exchange. Looks to be 27 heading out to the outfield. And so that appears to be Dylan Deegan, who will take over in center field. So Deegan takes over for Twitchell, who will take over for Kevin Hummer as he takes his warm-up tosses here. And so once again, we see 7th inning dramatics here for Post 59. They were able to produce 3 runs, trailing 1-0 against Shrewsbury last Wednesday, ended up hanging on for a 3-2 victory. We also saw a similar situation unfold in Milford's game against Northbridge last Friday. Trailing into the 7th inning, they were able to come back from a 3-2 deficit to win that game in walk-off fashion, 4-3. Milford now will have the tying run at first base in Tyler Monahan, and it will be Alex Reynolds as the next hitter representing the winning run. And so this game with a very different complexion now, Anthony.
Yeah, the Milford bats finally started to wake up. The dugout finally started to wake up. It's amazing how you finally, you get to these late innings and then the dugout magically wakes up. Milford was quiet for most of the game, and a lot of the times Milford's successful, they really base it off of the energy that they provide. They were quiet for a lot of the game. The energy wasn't all there. Finally, in the 7th inning, it's like, okay, guys, this is do or die. Milford finally picks it up in the dugout, and you see what happens. 4 runs, looking for 5. And if you're Reynolds, you're just trying to get on base any way you can. He's struggled a little bit tonight. 2 strikeouts in the 2nd and 6th, as well as a line out to the shortstop. We talked about that play by Turco. That came in the 4th inning. And if Reynolds can get on, it sends it to Nocera, who he's 8 for 9 in his last couple of games. So Milford is in a good spot right now.
So here we go. Twitchell now is ready. The righty's first pitch into Alex Reynolds, who went after it, fouled it in and out of the glove of Nick Martin. That might have gotten a piece of the catcher as well, as he is now shaken up behind home plate, and Coach Vaccaro, along with Coach DeVito, will quickly head in towards the plate.
And a lot of times that elbow sneaks out from its protected position. A lot of times catchers will tuck that elbow with a runner on. They might try to sneak it out a little bit to get a head start with the catch and release, and that one looked like it caught Martin either on the forearm or the elbow or somewhere like that, but he's a tough kid, must play hockey in the winter. He's going to stay on.
It's a no ball, 1 strike count to Alex Reynolds. as Twitchell is now ready with another pitch. And it's a breaking ball that misses maybe a little bit high, perhaps a hair inside, but the count evens at 1, and a lot of negative reactions pouring out of the third base dugout. They wanted the strike there. Instead, now Twitchell again looks on to his battery mate Martin, fires another pitch, and this one sent off the end of the bat, foul off to the right, out of play. And Milford down to their last strike. They have battled hard here with 2 outs in the inning. They have grabbed 4 hits in this 7th inning, which equals their hit total through the first 6 innings. They've worked hard, but still trailing this game by a run. Monahan representing the tying run at first base. Here is the 1-2 pitch, and that misses just outside. Shrewsbury ready to pour out of the dugout to celebrate. Instead, the count evens at 2-2.
And that's a very close pitch. That's one, like we're saying all game, it's been inconsistent for the first 3 innings. Started off as a strike, and then around that 4th inning or so, it started to be a little bit inconsistent. Ball, strike, even on the inside part of the plate. So that's one that could have ended the game, but Reynolds lets it go by, and luckily for Milford, it goes as a ball.
And Nick Martin, a good move going out to calm down the pitcher. Adam Twitchell at times has worn his emotions on his sleeve in this game. It's worked for him in the lineup, but wanting to keep his emotions in check here. Now ready with a 2-2 pitch. He fires it low. And so a huge moment in the making now, a full count to Alex Reynolds, which means Tyler Monahan will have a chance to get a head start from first base. But before we see another pitch, timeout called by the home plate umpire.
And I'm very surprised to see Coach DeVito didn't elect a pinch run for Monahan. Nothing against Monahan. He's just not the fastest guy over there at first base.
They've got good speed in the dugout in Jack Swift, who they have used in that situation in previous games. Now the payoff pitch, and that is in for a called strike 3. Reynolds cannot believe it. And now Shrewsbury pours out of that third base dugout. Reynolds electing to keep the bat on the shoulder for those last few pitches. And Reynolds down on strikes, and that's how the ball game ends. It ends in gut-wrenching fashion for Post 59 entering the 7th inning, trailing 5-0. They score 4 runs, all with 2 outs. But ultimately, Milford cannot finish off the rally as Alex Reynolds strikes out with the tying run at first base, and Milford falls to Shrewsbury here at Pheno Field by a final score of 5-4. So a valiant effort from the home team. But too good tonight was Shrewsbury, Post 397, and with the victory, a key victory in Zone 4 for Post 397, they will now improve to 9-2 on the year. Milford with the loss, their second in 3 games, they will drop to 11-3, and that will make things very cozy with those top 3 teams in the leaderboard for Zone 4, Leominster, Milford, and Shrewsbury.